Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and can I call my folks and tell them I won't be coming home ever? Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margo D. Hello, friend.
Killer bunnies! Killer bunnies!
What's happening? We are dorking out about 1987's Summer School. This has been one of my picks for whenever people ask me, like, what movies remind you of summer? I always list this movie. It's got a better pedigree than you think. It's directed by Carl Reiner. It stars Mark Harmon and Kirstie Alley. It's got Courtney Thorne-Smith, very young Courtney Thorne-Smith. Dean Cameron as Chainsaw. Gary Riley as Dave. They are two like standout characters. And then I didn't know this until I watched this rewatch. The music's by Danny Elfman. What?
Oh, I know.
I'm like, this. It's so. I think this movie is. I think there's a lot. I think there's an audience for this movie. I think this movie might be like the very definition of a cult movie. Like, it is not. Insanely popular, but the people who love it super love it. Did you see it in the theater?
No, I don't think I did. I feel like it's one of those movies I caught either on cable or I rented it or a combination of both. But I've seen it. It was on TV quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I watched it, I just super enjoyed it. It's one of those things like I watch with all my siblings. You can even watch with your parents.
Yeah.
And can't get too offended by it. I mean, there's one section where Courtney Thorne-Smith, who, by the way, adorable.
So adorable. Everybody drink.
She's so cute. She moves in with her teacher for a couple of weeks. It's like, is she like 16? No, this is not okay.
Yeah, not okay.
Even then, it doesn't even seem that weird. It's just it's I don't know. It's such a likable, charming movie.
Yeah, getting ready for this rewatch, I was a little worried that things in this movie would not age well. That we would have a Revenge of the Nerds situation on our hands, and I actually don't think that was the case. I think the movie actually holds up pretty well. Even the stuff with like Courtney Thorne-Smith moving in with Mark Harmon, he's clearly uncomfortable with it the whole time. Like, it's not like, hey, this is a great idea. He seems like he knows kind of what she's trying to do, and he's not comfortable with it. And then but then the movie changed. Like, there's a little scene where he seems like maybe he is comfortable with it, and then Kirstie Alley calls him out on it, and it moves on. But I just really, really enjoyed rewatching it. If you guys haven't seen Summer School, it's about summer school. No, I'm kidding. It's Mark Harmon is the PE teacher who is forced into teaching the remedial English summer school class, and it's all just kids that don't want to be there. They're all the, quote unquote loser kids, burnout kids. And it's like every 80s stereotype kid in that movie. Mm-hmm. So we have like a jock, a nerd, we have a pregnant teenager. We have and then we have Dave and Chainsaw, the horror movie dorks that actually predate Bill and Ted. They're kind of ahead of the game, actually. Before Wayne and Garth, before Bill and Ted, there was Dave and Chainsaw.
And they were very funny.
They were so funny, and I knew people like Dave and Chainsaw for sure.
Yeah.
Did you know some Daves and Chainsaws?
Oh, my brothers were Dave and Chainsaw. My brother John was like a combination of both of them, and he was every scene they were in, he loved. He would laugh the loudest. He loved them. Yeah,
they are so enjoyable. So there's so much to talk about. Should we just go through it? It's all taking place at Oceanfront High School. I don't know if that's a real school. I read that it's the same one that they filmed Karate Kid.
I think it's one of those schools they film all the high school stuff there, TV and movies.
Yeah. They built it probably just for filming.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is, but I would like to live there because it looks great.
I want Shoop's house, by the way.
Totally. I was thinking, I was like, dude has a teacher salary and he lives right on the beach. I'm like, that's amazing.
It's on the boardwalk. He has a great view. He has a dog. I was thinking the same thing. Like, he does really well for a teacher's salary, like especially a PE teacher. I don't know how much they make, but he's kind of, so it's Mark Harmon, who's just his Mark Harmiest. He's so charming and good looking and just a goofball, a lovable goofball.
I wrote in my notes, Foxy. He's foxy.
He's so foxy. Oh, he's so cute. And he did a lot of movies, and somebody pointed out on our Twitter feed that they can't understand why he wasn't a bigger movie star, but he did a few movies. You remember Presidio?
Yes, I was going to bring that up later. I watched the Presidio with a friend of mine, and it's not good.
My mother loved that movie.
But when I say not good,
no, she had terrible taste.
It's you watch it and it's very entertaining, not good. Like it's very actually it would be a very good episode of our kind of 80s 90s thrillers that we love to do.
Yeah.
The Presidio would be really good for that.
He's very charming. He's very handsome. He had played St. Elsewhere. He played a character who was kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
And who died of AIDS, right?
I know. It was a huge deal. So he was the doctor on the show that he was a ladies' man. He was always
Lothario.
Yeah, he was always out catting around. He was like the George Clooney character in ER before ER was a thing. And then his character got AIDS and died. It was a big deal because he was the character was a straight white man. And
he was
AIDS,
very popular.
Yeah, and AIDS was a, quote unquote gay disease at the time. So it was a big deal. And he also played Ted Bundy, of course. You know that.
Oh, right. And then that was controversial because, and we talked about Ted Bundy in our show, What a Creep. But, Bundy gets a lot of points for handsome that he doesn't deserve.
He doesn't. He's just some average looking dude.
Yeah, and Mark Harmon is really attractive. And so Ted Bundy, they supposedly got fan mail from women because they thought he looked like Mark Harmon.
Yeah.
It was really bizarre. He did 240 Roberts. Do you remember that show?
I don't.
It's an action show, and it was on with Joanna Cassidy and some other guy. And we watched it in my family every week. It was such family-friendly television. So he did a few movies in the mid-'80s, and then he started doing all this television, and is probably a gazillionaire.
Yes.
By now. He married Pam Dauber.
And she's so cute. She's adorable. Everybody drink.
She looks great. They've been together for 30 years now. So he plays a guy named Shoop, and he's typical California dude, blonde, tannish, fittish. He has rollerblades, and he is teaching phys ed. And I love it. It's Carl Reiner's the director, and he's not a very subtle director. He's
he's not.
Going for the comedy, which is fine. And he plays a teacher who basically he wins the scratch off that day. And he goes, I got 50 grand. I'm getting out of here.
Yeah,
just
bye-bye.
Bye. And so the principal has to run around and try to find somebody. And he gets Shoop because Shoop is just about to leave for Hawaii with his girlfriend, once again, on a teacher's salary.
Yes.
But so he's going to teach remedial English, and then we get Kirstie Alley, who looks gorgeous.
Oh, Kirstie Alley! I wrote notes about this. She's everybody drink. She's adorable. She's so cute. And early Kirstie Alley she's so cute, and she's funny as fuck. She's really funny. She was so funny on Cheers. She's so good in Look Who's Talking. So good in this. And then I wrote, what happened? And I'm like, I know the answer, but
she joined a couple of cults. But it's so everything she wore, I wore.
Yeah.
At one point, in the 80s. And she plays a teacher who's helping the kids. They're taking classes because they're AP classes. They want to go to summer school.
Yeah, they're nerds.
They're nerds. And especially in California, that is so nerdy because summer is everything in California because we don't get any rain or anything. So anyway, so the kids show up and there's a nerd, and I can't quite figure out what's wrong with him except his nerdiness because he appears to be pretty bright, when he's negotiating a deal.
Yeah.
He's
I don't know.
Dumb.
Maybe he doesn't test well.
Yeah, that could very well be it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I'm sorry. We have Patrick Laberto. He's the football player.
Yes.
and we have a guy who's really good looking, and he falls asleep. It turns out he's a male dancer.
Oh my
He's an
God.
exotic dancer.
Yeah.
That's a funny reveal.
Yes.
Shawnee Smith is Rhonda, who's the pregnant one.
She's really
we
cute
have
too. They're all
she's
cute.
gorgeous. They're so cute. And Fabiana, she's the Italian girl, like
She's
for some
beautiful.
reason. And she's stunning.
Yeah.
And Dave and Chainsaw take a like to her right away.
And she likes them, which I think is really cute too.
Yeah, she's totally like just bubbly and fun. And then but the first day of class, there's a guy there, and he's a tall African-American football player gentleman, and he's like, "Can I go to the bathroom?" I'm like, yeah. And then you never see him till the end of the movie. Yeah. But first he doesn't know what to do, so he gets permission slips, and they go to like this little farm, a petting zoo, and they get on a roller coaster, and like Shoop just keeps them busy. And then the parents find out about this, and the principal,
who's totally like 80s villain, like typical, tightwad, who also happens to be dating Kirstie Alley's character. I'm like, of course he is. Like, that's just total 80s thing. I wanted to mention when the first day in the summer school class, Shoop shows up and all the kids are just in there, and I think Chainsaw says, "Mr. Shoop, are you in this class too?" Like, they don't even think he's teaching it. Are you taking summer school too? And he's like, "I'm teaching it." And that's when they're like, "Oh, we're just gonna party." Like, they know that, he's, because he says at the beginning, like, "I'm not a real teacher. He just teaches PE. I check for jock straps."
Yes.
And then he doesn't really know how to teach. So he kind of starts with like trying to be their friend.
And it doesn't work. I mean, it just goes all haywire.
Yeah.
And then he says to them, "Look, you have to take a test by the end of this thing. And if you don't pass it, then you're going to be left back. So you better get serious." And the kids are like, "Fine, we'll take classes with you, but we all want something from you." And
yeah,
I don't get it. But anyway, but that's the story. So he's going to do a favor for each and every one of them in order for them to then keep going to class. And so, like, Shawnee Smith is pregnant. He's going to go to the Lamaze class with her. He's like, yeah, it's a great place to pick up chicks.
Yeah. What's the other? There's a Kelly Jo Minter who plays Denise Green. She can't drive.
She's so funny.
She's so funny in this movie, and she needs some driving instruction. She's not a good driver. What else do we have? The football player that needs him to like be his tackling dummy, basically.
He's coach.
Yeah.
And then Dave and Chainsaw want him to play the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in class. That's all they want.
Yeah, and a party.
That's right, a party at his house July 4th. And so he's like, fine. He just helps everybody. And what happens? So and then Courtney Thorne-Smith just shows up at his house one day and says, "Look, I need a place to crash because my brother had another kid and there's no room for me." And he's like, "Well, that's weird." And then he sees her entire family's in the back patio, and they're like, "Yeah, bye." So you get this idea. I mean, he's a very small apartment. It's a great apartment, but it's tiny.
Yeah.
But that's what she wants because she has a big crush on him, because who wouldn't have a crush on him? It's Mark Harmon.
No shit. I wrote in my notes, Pam is hot for teacher. I super get it. Like,
totally get it.
He's really, really cute, and he lives in a really cute apartment on the beach. I want to get that. I get it.
He's nice too. He's genuinely nice. He's not an asshole. And well, of course, the kids start to take advantage of him.
Mm-hmm.
And so Dave and Chainsaw, like, they have a party at his house. And they said, Anna Maria, they make these melons and they put firecrackers in them.
In honor of her.
In honor of her. And then they light his couch on fire and they get in trouble. I love the scene. I forgot, like, when they're at the petting zoo, they take bunny rabbits and they put fake blood. They take fake rabbits and they put fake blood on it. And they act like they're being eaten alive by these rabbits.
And everyone just claps. And like this poor Italian exchange student's like, is this an American thing? Like, she doesn't understand what's happening. It's they're moments in horror. Like, there's another scene later where they kind of get everybody involved in the classroom and like act like they're psychopaths, and there's like gashes in necks and like people are cut in half and ripping out their own intestines. Like, all that stuff was like, I remember at the time thinking that was so crazy that they got this like kind of hardcore gore in this
Yeah.
like PG-13 movie. It's like, it's really gross.
It's, well, they like Rick Baker. Very, very, very,
Yeah.
very, 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 very.
By the way, who hasn't done that when they write a paper?
Oh, yeah. And so Shawnee Smithies, but I think it's really sweet. Like, she becomes friends with the football player, and they kind of have a flirtation.
Yeah,
And then
it's
he
very
takes
sweet.
over. But it's very chaste, and it's very proper. And Denise, and then Denise gets her driver's license, and I love it when she gets out of the car, she still has the seatbelts on her.
That
always makes me laugh.
I've been that person. It
totally makes me laugh.
Yeah, she's so excited that she finally passed. She develops like a really sweet friendship too with the nerdy guy.
Yes.
That poor kid he's constantly vomiting.
Yes, he's like always nervous and sick, and it turns out she has dyslexia, and she just kind of fell through the system. And he's the one who shows Shoop her letter, because they're all supposed to write a letter to somebody complaining about something in order, it's like being a consumer, and you're complaining about a product or something not working. And he shows it to Shoop, and then Shoop shows it to Kirstie Alley, and she says, yeah, the girl's dyslexic, you got to get her some help. And so she's going to start getting some help. So the kids all are getting a little bit from them what they need, and they're also trying to study for their test and learn. And they do take the test, and the guy from the bathroom shows up that day for his test, and he passes, and
he gets the highest score in the class.
Yes. And I love it. Chainsaw all of a sudden just like screams at the top of his lungs. That he's like, all right, sorry, I had to get that out. That's
They are the MVPs of this movie, Chainsaw and Dave. They really are. Like, I think that when people think about this movie, they always think of Chainsaw and Dave. And I mean, I know that when I first saw this movie, as much as I like Mark Harmon because he's hunky, Chainsaw and Dave were my favorites.
They were it.
Yeah, I definitely knew some Chainsaw and Daves too. So it seemed familiar to me. I mean, they're definitely like 80s stereotypes, all the kids in the class, but there's a little bit of truth in all of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're stereotypes, except for maybe the kid that's an exotic dancer. I don't recall that being a thing when I was in high school, but maybe it was.
You never know, but he said, like, he's like, yeah, I'm 17, I'm at my sexual peak, I gotta, he's making good money.
Yeah,
but then his mom shows up. So
gross.
And his aunt puts $5 in his jock or something.
My aunt kissed me with tongue. It's so gross. It's so gross. I actually do really like the scenes with Mark Harmon and that kid, because the kid's like, if you were 17 and you knew what you know now, what would you tell me? And he's like, okay, well, good luck with your dancing, basically. Like, he just is like, yeah, of course you would, do those things. And he's a good dancer too.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he looks great. I do also love the scene where Chainsaw and Dave are just sitting out by Shoop's apartment and they're drinking, because they're always drinking. There is a kind of an underlying thing running through the movie about that maybe Chainsaw and Dave have drinking problems, or that they're not problems so much as they're drinking even during the day. Well, I mean, I guess that's a problem.
No, and so Shoop, so the cops come along, and Shoop takes the fall.
Yeah. And I love
having the alcohol.
Yeah, that Shoop is like no shirt. He's wearing the tennis shoe roller skates. Like,
excuse me.
He's got like, doesn't he have like the huge headphones on too with the radio?
With like the radio.
Yeah. Like, even when they try to make Mark Harmon look sloppy, they don't do a really good job. Like, he's still
cute.
He's still cute, and he still looks like he's probably pretty neat. Even when they're trying to make him look sloppy. But then he goes to jail, and of course it's like a super crowded cell filled with like biker, bike club members 101, like bikers with their leather, and he's in there with like his no shirt and his roller
Yep.
skates and, total stereotype stuff. But then they all go to court, and, Kirstie Alley like defends him, and it's just total 80s stuff.
Yeah, but he was teaching them a lesson.
Yeah. And I love all the Kirstie Alley's really, like we said, she's so cute in this movie, and I like that she does like him, but I feel like she says a line about like, I don't date guys like you anymore.
Right.
And I was like, been there, sister. Like, you outgrow someone like a shoop. And so when he starts to show, like, I actually want to be a good teacher, I'm trying to like get my shit together, is when she starts to get hot for him. And once again, who wouldn't be? Because
right. And then they have the day of the big test, and then the parents come in, and Shoop had like quit, but then they brought him back, and they're talking about the kids taking this, and the principal is there with the vice principal, and this vice principal wants to get Shoop fired because he took his girlfriend, basically, and
so 80s.
And this is actually, I kind of appreciate the movie. Like, the kids don't they don't all get A's or anything. Like, some of them only approve like to a D level, but he takes it and he makes it show like, look, they all improved and did better. And when she's like, Shawty's like, I also gave birth. Do they ever give you extra time for that?
Yeah,
she's like, we usually do.
Do we get a makeup?
That's what usually happens.
Yeah, I like that too. It's not like the movie Stand and Deliver, which I think might have come out around the same time, actually.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, where all those kids are geniuses.
Yeah, they all get super smart, and they all pass the test. Like, some of these kids don't pass the test, but they improve and they do learn something. And yeah, I like that. It's like probably more realistic. Not that I look to summer school to be real.
Right.
I do love, so we get the student who comes back, the tall African-American kid at the beginning who went to the bathroom and disappeared for 6 weeks and then comes back and takes the test. At the beginning of the movie, he says the test was wrong and I passed or something. And he's like, you're going to do well in this class. He comes back, he takes the test. He gets a 91. Like, I was like, he's right. The test was probably wrong. He probably did pass the test the first time. Why should he waste his time hanging out with these dorks? I wrote in my notes, and I don't know the answer to this. There's a whole thing about Shoop wants to get tenure at the school. I'm like, is that a thing in high school? I thought that was like a college thing.
No, I think you can get it in high school too.
Really? Okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
Once again, I don't look to summer school for realism, but I didn't realize that was a high school thing. We should ask our high school teacher friends. And do we want to talk about Shoop's dog, Wonder Mutt?
Oh, I love Wonder Mutt.
He's so cute.
And when he lost his toy, and he was all bummed out, he tried to make him a new one, but then it washed up in the end.
Yeah, I love that.
He's a great dog.
He's such a great dog, and I think it's really funny when he loses the doll head and he's just really bummed out. And yeah, he tries to make him a new one. And dogs are smart; you can't trick them.
No.
My old dog, Homer, rest in peace, Homer, had a stuffed goose that he loved, and he would rip it up eventually, and I would try to like swap it out, and I had to be sly. You had to be sly to swap it out, because if I tried to do it like right in front of him, he was like, meh. Like, it didn't work. I had to like kind of like get the other goose and like rub it on the new goose to like get some smell on it, and like and like do it while he was sleeping, basically. I thought it was funny. I'm like, dogs are like that. And I love the scene at the end where Shoop and Robin are making out on the beach, and the dog then gets his toy back, and
yeah,
it's very funny. And then the dog starts making out with them too. And Mark Harmon basically makes out with the dog, and I was like, anyone who makes out with a dog is okay in my book.
They're a good person.
Yeah, dogs know. I did a little research on this movie, and I saw that Roger Ebert gave this movie half a star.
What?
And I was like, come on, Ebert. Come on.
What was his complaint?
He just said it was listless and leisurely and unspirited. This movie has no particular reason for being other than to supply employment for people whose job possibilities will not be enhanced by it.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
Sorry, but come on.
I'm like, I love Ebert, but I was like, when you write a review like that, like I think about, like, I used to review movies sometimes. If I gave a movie half a star is like a real fuck you review.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you save that kind of review for a movie that has bad things to say?
Yeah.
This movie doesn't have anything. There's nothing evil about this movie. It's pretty harmless. It's 90 minutes. It's kind of sweet. It's light. I'm like, how is that half a star?
He could be pompous sometimes, and he just he's a critic. They always have to have an angle. I mean, he's the person that likes Speed 2 and gave it like 3 stars. You have to remember that about him. Always remember that.
I always remember that he gave like 3 stars to one of the Garfield movies. And I was like, what? Come on.
And Space Jam, him and Siskel, they loved Space Jam just because Michael Jordan was in it.
Well, yeah, no. I actually, younger people love Space Jam.
Yeah.
I'm like, I missed the boat on Space Jam, I guess. Because I saw it and I was like, that's fine. It's fine. I don't really care if I see it again or not. Maybe we need to watch it again. But younger people love Space Jam. I missed the boat on that. Anyway, I saw that review and I was like, come on, Ebert. Like, I think you held this movie to a standard it didn't deserve to be held to. It's not a half a star movie. There's nothing that bad in this movie. I liked it. I liked it at the time. I still like it now. I was worried that this was going to be a rewatch where it didn't hold up, and I think it does. I think it's exactly what you think it's going to be, and that's okay.
And for the 80s, the fact that there's no like date rape or racism, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's one of those rare. We did this when we talked about Real Genius. It's like kind of one of the rare 80s comedies that doesn't include sexual assault or racism. So, in that way, it should automatically have 2 stars.
Exactly.
Do you want to hear about some of the other movies that came out in July of 1987?
Absolutely.
Okay. These are all movies that came out the same month as Summer School. And you'll see that maybe that half a star rating was too harsh. Revenge of the Nerds 2, Nerds in Paradise.
Back in the paradise.
Hey, actually, I'm going to look it up. Let's look it up right now. Revenge of the Nerds. Let's see what Ebert gave Revenge of the Nerds 2. Just for comparison's sake. I should have looked this up before we started recording. Let's look it up. Maybe if he gave it more star. He gave it 1.5 stars.
Wow.
Come on, Ebert. That's some bullshit. Okay, I'm going to look up one more. So here, hold on. Also coming out that weekend, or that month, Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
Oh, that's a terrible one.
All right, let's look it up. Let's see, what did Ebert think? This is mean. Ebert's not around to defend himself, but whatever. Okay, let's see. Superman. Oh, no, that's a different one. Hold on. Sorry, everybody. I should have looked this up before. Superman, The Quest for Peace, Roger Ebert. No. Where is it? Oh, I can't find it. Anyway, he probably gave it a good review. All right, Jaws, The Revenge.
Oh, my God. That's a terrible movie.
We'll get into some good ones now. RoboCop.
That's a great movie.
RoboCop is rad. La Bamba.
Richie!
I haven't seen La Bamba probably since the movie theater, but I remember liking it at the time. It's
no, it's just his brother, Isai Morales.
Yeah.
When he finds out Richie dies, he does this whole thing where he just drops to his knees and yells, Richie!
No!
Exactly. It was on K-Rock in the morning. That like one of the docs there, like said, she said that was like her favorite movie, and every once in a while they would just play that Reggie, no, and it makes me laugh now. You know, the guy died in a plane crash.
Aha, that's hilarious. This was a past episode, The Lost Boys.
Awesome movie.
The Lost Boys is awesome. Adventures in Babysitting.
Awesome movie.
Love that one. Inner Space.
Awesome movie. Dennis Quaid.
Mm-hmm. The Living Daylights, which is the first Timothy Dalton James Bond. I like The Living Daylights, but I haven't seen it in a long time. Like a lot of Bond movies, it probably hasn't aged well. And then the last one I have definitely not seen since the theater and could barely remember it. Made to Order.
Oh, I love Made to Order.
Do you? With Ali Sheedy?
Yes, I've seen that movie like 100 times. I love that movie. It's so stupid. I love every second of it.
Okay.
I like a redemption story. I really, really do. She plays the spoiled bitch who wakes up and her family doesn't recognize her and she has to get a job as a maid in Beverly Hills. And she basically, she becomes friends with everybody and she just becomes less of an asshole.
Yeah.
And Tom Skerritt is her father. Beverly D'Angelo is like her angel that helps her.
I love her.
It's really sweet. It's very dated, but it's really sweet.
Okay.
I love that movie. I defend that movie.
I haven't seen it since the theater, but when it popped up on my search and I was like, Made to Order. And then I looked at the poster and I was like, oh yeah. Well, I'm glad to know that it was actually good. So that's all the movies from 87, July 1987.
All right. So do you want to hear the top songs of 87?
Yes, I do.
Okay. These are the ones I really love. U2, I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For.
I love that song.
Still holds up. Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody.
I love that song, Whitney.
Whitney.
I love old Whitney songs. They're so good.
Lisa and the Cult Jam, Head to Toe.
Lisa and Cult Jam
are dope.
Yep.
George Michael, I Want Your Sex. Great song.
It is such a good song.
White Snake, Is This Love? I love that song.
I love that song. I loved me some
White Snake.
Yep. I was into it.
Miami Sound Machine, Rhythm Is Gonna Get Ya. Oh, hey, oh, hey.
I say that. I actually do the, I hope the rhythm doesn't get me. Stuff like
And the last one is Prince, You Got the Look.
Oh my, that's one of the
bad songs.
Such a good song. And it's when like, oh, that's what my dog thinks. Toby's like, are you talking about You Got the Look? I'm into it. Sorry, everybody. I have not a recording studio. I record in my house. What else are you dorking out about, Margo?
I guess we were just talking about it before we went on the air, but on Netflix, they have the Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. They just call it Queer Eye now, right? It's Queer Eye. And their new season is up, and first of all, they're in Philadelphia, and I love Philadelphia so much. And they play Philadelphia Freedom. I loved that so much.
I love that song.
Oh my God, I love it to a ridiculous amount. I'm a huge Elton John fan. And just once again, they know how to put a show together. Yeah. And they took the original principle, which was, gay guys taking a straight guy and making him better. And they've expanded it to just kind of like anybody that needs help, they want to help them. Mm-hmm. And it's still, you really love the reveal for the house. Like that's usually the biggest part, and maybe some clothes. And the hair, sure. I mean, the food part always is kind of weak, even though that guy's adorable. It's still like, what are you doing here?
He's so adorable, but like his cooking stuff is like,
yeah, exactly. It's not cooking porn.
Yeah.
But they're all so like we were just so much empathy to go around and to help really good people who are kind of in a jam and like they're in a rut in their lives or they're at a crossroads or whatever. And it's so warm and wonderful, and it makes you feel good. And I just hope they always have this show. It's so great.
It is. We talked about this a little bit on our What a Creep, where we talked about how movies are empathy machines. Like, this is like a little, and actually I think Roger Ebert's the one who said that. So shout out to Roger Ebert. We
A
don't,
lot of Ebert today.
we still love you, Ebert. This show is like 45 minutes of empathy. And I love that it's not just like, and then we bought him new clothes and now he's different. It's, they give him like a little life makeover, and all of these people are good people that need a little boost. They need a little help, and they help them. It's really, really sweet. It's just, you feel like some good people who are working really hard are being rewarded. It always makes me feel so good. And the second episode of this new season is a woman who works as a dog groomer, and they do like a dog fashion show, and I'm practically like rocking back and forth in my seat watching it like, oh my god, I would totally go to that. Like, you know, I just love, I'm like a dog. I'm a dog person. So, well, I'm an animal person, but when I see dogs and clothes, I'm sorry. I know it's lame, but I get really, really excited. And I do love it when they bring out all the corgis, and like the food guy, Anthony, loves corgis, and he like loses his shit and like gets down on the ground and is like rolling around with these dogs. It's like, I would too. I get it.
Can you picture the queen doing that? Because she's a total corgi nut.
She might.
When nobody's around, when no one's around.
She probably does, right?
She probably did,
How do you not when you're in a room full of corgis? You have to.
My friend Patty and I, we have a thing. When we see corgis on the street, we'll take a picture and we'll send it to each other. We'll say, corgi butt. They're little tushies. They're so cute.
It's so cute. I would love to get a corgi in this house, but we kind of have a full house right now, as you can hear in the background. So I am also dorking out about Queer Eye. I am also trying to catch up with Real Housewives of New York. And I think what you guys are, I think the new season, it's already on like episode 11, and I'm on like episode 5 or 6. So I'm like halfway behind. But I just finished the one where Luann performed like a podcast live show, and then like
right, and her boyfriend did comedy.
Yeah, and her quote unquote
French.
Her boyfriend did quote unquote comedy. I was like, what? Like, it's nothing funny about it. I don't understand what was happening there. But you and my friend Kate introduced me to Real Housewives of New York, and I started watching last year, and I realized that these shows are trashy. But they're fun, trashy. And you said something in one of our conversations, probably off mic, about it, where it's really cool to watch a show where it's all women, I want to say of a certain age, but that makes them sound even older than they are. Like, these are women, and like the youngest one is in her 30s. Then we have someone who's like 44, I think. And then after that, it's like 50s, 60s. And I don't know, there's not a lot of shows like that where it's like women of different age groups. None of them are housewives anymore. So I'm like, when I first started watching it, I was like, I don't understand. None of them are housewives. Like, I don't even think any of them are married.
No.
But that's okay. Fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
But I like watching it. I think they're very entertaining. I think it's the perfect show for a treadmill. I can see why this is always on at the gym. Like, Real Housewives are always on at the gym. I get it now. It makes perfect sense to me. And I also love that they're all very beautiful. But they also on the show them like they all have like a glam squad to make them look that way. And these women are always working on their bodies all the time, or they're like, I'm fasting because I put on 5 pounds and now my dresses don't fit. So it's like, I'm doing a liquid fast. Like, it shows them like, you know, putting in the work to like maintain that sort of thing, which I appreciate, especially if I'm watching on the treadmill. So thank you, Margo and my friend Kate, for getting me on the Real Housewives of New York train. It is very entertaining. I'm just super thankful to you guys for that. It is like it's such a nice, like, entertaining 45 minutes, and the show constantly makes me laugh out loud. And you can't say that for a lot of comedies that are on TV. So
They have some super funny women on there on all the different shows, and that sometimes they're unintentionally funny, and then sometimes they have like just good one-liners that they drop. For Atlanta, the women are always talking about having babies, and they're in their 50s, like they date a guy. And so there's this one woman on Atlanta, Cynthia, and she's 52, and she's saying like my Mike and I, we're thinking about having a baby, and I do have one good egg left. And then Nene in her confessional goes, "Where's the egg at? I don't see an egg." And I'm sorry, that's fucking funny. That's like,
where's the egg?
Where's the egg at? And so it's like they all have those moments. It's just like a fun break from reality, but you never see, it's going to, I think it's like at the Golden Girls for now,
Yeah.
It's just funny women doing ridiculous things, except there's a lot more drinking. I mean,
oh my God, they're always drunk.
Yeah.
They're always drunk. I just find the show very entertaining. And there was an episode, it was like Sonia's fashion show. It made me laugh out loud because Sonia Morgan sent them all dresses or jackets or whatever to wear to the fashion show. And she sends the new girl basically gray sweats.
Right.
And she's like, I'm not wearing that. Fuck that. And she like brings it in like a fucking grocery bag and like throws it at her. Thanks for the gray sweats or whatever. And Sonia's all, I think they're cute. And I just thought it was really funny that in her fashion show with all these people around, Sonia goes in the back room and puts on those ridiculous.
In the kitchen.
Yeah, puts on those gray sweats and comes out and tries to work it. And how quickly like it like takes the what's the right word? It de-escalates the argument.
Because she diffuses the situation.
Yeah, diffuses the situation. That's what I'm trying to say. Like she Leah's like, I'm gonna getting all puffed up and ready for like one of those dramatic Real Housewife fights, and then Sonia's like, look, it looks amazing, and she looks stupid, and she's wearing like a huge hat and like total goober or whatever. And Leah's like, how can you stay mad at her? Like, it's just really, it made me laugh out loud on the treadmill when she walked out in the outfit. I was like, good for her. Like, it's a very entertaining show, is what I'm saying.
I'm glad you're having fun with it.
Yeah, so thanks for that. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Brooklyn Fit Chick for social media, and my blog is brooklynfitchick.com.
And if you like the sound of our voices, you can also find us at What a Creep. We're having so much fun over at What a Creep. I know it doesn't sound like fun. It is really fun. We talk about different creeps, and then we end every episode with someone who's not a creep. You can find us on Patreon or Facebook or Twitter actually on Twitter, we're at Creep Pod because some creep
took What a Creep for 10 years and never used it.
Creep. You can find me at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on Twitter and Instagram, rarely on Facebook. But if you go to our What a Creep podcast group, it's private. I actually interact with people there, I promise. And you can find Dorking Out at dorkingout.com. I'm sorry, dorkingout.com, Dorking Out Show on Twitter and Facebook, and wherever you get your podcasts you're listening right now. And if you want to give us a review on Apple Podcasts, that would be amazing. We would be super grateful. We'll be your best friend.
I think we got a new one, Sonia.
Did we?
Yeah, we've got a new 5-star review.
I'm going to go look it up right now. I'll give a shout. I should be giving shout outs to people who give us good reviews. Yeah, because we know that
Apple doesn't make it easy. You have to get like an ID and a password, and then you have to do it through the computer app, I think. I don't know if you could do it on the phone.
You are right. Furl Mama gave us she said it's like reminiscing with friends. Thank you, Furl Mama.
That's how we want you to feel. We want you to feel like you're hanging with friends.
Yeah. So please give us a review if you can. This is rad. Margo, thank you so much for talking about summer school with me.
Anytime. I love this movie stupid amount, and really, especially the times that we're living in, if you just need your brain needs a break.
Yes.
It's perfect. It just puts you in a whole other sunny world for just an hour and a half.
Yeah, and I think that's a good segue into, like, we know that like everything is really crazy right now, and we are big supporters of Black Lives Matter here, and this show, we're not trying to like ignore things that are happening. We're just trying to give people a little distraction because sometimes you need a little distraction. So we're here for it. This would make a good double feature with One Crazy Summer.
Oh, yeah.
Shit, we should put that one on the list too. Let's do that one in July. That would be a good one.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, thank you all for listening, and we'll be back next week with a new movie. Killer